A very good evening, and praise be to the Lord who has really kept you alive up to this day and up to this hour of the day. We are delighted that your eyes have been on Family TV from morning up to this 7th hour. We are indeed glad. Thank you so much for watching Family TV. And this is Health Port. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name. This program is brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health. Together with Family TV, basically looking at early childhood development and maternal health. And guests we have today, we are delighted to host another special person into this show. She's Dr. Annette Kezaabu. She's the Pornography Control Committee chairperson. But of course, she does a lot of work in the Department of Communication, Makerere University. And she's here to take us through our day's topic. Doctor, we are delighted to have you today.
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers.
Wow. So, Doctor, now that you're the chairperson of the Pornography Control Committee, we really want to know, what is pornography? How do you define pornography as you're the chairperson of the committee?
Okay, so before I define pornography, I think the viewers need to know that I chair a committee of 9 members, and this committee was established by Parliament, and it's under the Anti-Pornography Act of 2014. And this committee was established as came out of the public in 2004, around 2004. Some members of the public, sections of the public, from churches, they went and demonstrated to Parliament and said there were songs which were pornographic. That time they were not calling them pornographic, but which were obscene.
Yeah.
And so they spoke to some members of Parliament.
Videos.
Yes, there were videos, but when I look at them now, what they were calling obscene, now they are really overtaken by events, because what is happening now is much more. Of course, with time things evolve and they become worse. So Parliament at that time in 2005 established a committee that went around the country and established pockets of pornography and what was pornographic. And when they came back, that is when they decided to work on the Anti-Pornography Act. And so we started our work around August 2017. That's a bit delayed from 2014. From 2014 to 2017. But when we really started, were 9 members, although we later added on another team called the Multi-Sectoral Task Team, where we draw people from different sectors of society. Like we draw someone from the media, we draw someone from police, we draw someone from... we draw people from all walks of life.
Okay.
Yes, from finance.
From the church.
Yeah, from the church. Yeah, so we have a committee, and then we have that subcommittee below us. But we realize that this needs a concerted effort by all. Surely. Yes.
Because it is so dangerous.
Yes, it is. And you've asked me about the definition.
Yeah, the definition of pornography.
Yeah, what we have in the Act defining pornography is that it's a representation of pictures through publications, not only pictures, through exhibition, through cinematography, indecent shows. I'm defining as I go along. So if I talk about indecent shows, I'm talking about this chimansuru.
Yeah.
It's also in the definition of pornography. Information technology, people can simulate sexual acts using even cartoons. So that's also pornographic. And then some people just even go to a place and do sexual acts in front of others naked. And that's, you can't classify it anywhere. You just say that in the definition, people are found having sex directly. But whatever is done, whatever is seen, whatever is shown, whatever is read, because also a narrative can be pornographic. Yeah. Someone can write a story that is pornographic.
I remember
yes.
in 2019, I think it was 2019, when a team of parents sued a school over giving their children an essay which seemed pornographic.
Well, yes. I think that they were right, because those people are initiating them or introducing them to pornography. But you are taking me to schools, but let me first finish the definition.
No, it's okay. I just brought it in as you're on the
So whatever
definition.
someone sees, whatever someone watches, whatever someone reads that is primarily for sexual excitement is pornographic. So we underline primarily for sexual excitement. A doctor can be, an obs-gynae looks at women's sexual parts every time, but when they look at it in the context of
the
medical context. So it's not primarily for sexual excitement. So that's not pornographic.
Okay.
There was a funny story that someone told us. One of us is a medical doctor. He represents the medical doctors. So he said the man went with his wife. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, even in the definition. But went with his wife, and then when the male doctor entered with the wife, he was curious to know what they were doing. So he went and started peeping through a hole.
Just what exactly the doctor was doing.
So he was getting disturbed. She was undressing and going on the table and opening up. He couldn't take it anymore. He came and banged the door and entered.
Oh, no.
And said, "I've bust you," And yeah, so even if that person was brought to book, we explained that this is not pornographic. We can't charge such a doctor because it is not primarily for sexual excitement.
So, doctor, what does this committee do, basically? Because we also need to know about what you do as the committee.
Yeah, so the committee was set up initially to, first of all, to detect pornography wherever and whenever it happens, detect it. That's like preventative.
Yeah.
Then also to prohibit pornography whenever, and then to arrest and take legal action against perpetrators of pornography.
Is this the reason as to why you bring in the police on board?
Yes, and that's what I was going to say, with the aid of police. I know there is citizens arrest, but you need police
Yes.
to make such arrests, yes. And also, mainly for me, to educate and sensitize the public about pornography and its dangers.
And I think that is the best.
That is the most important function. But also we have the function, as we've been going around the communities and schools, we have found that there are people who are already addicted. You will see, there are young men and young women who could even come to this studio and speak to you about their addictions and how they overcame their addictions. So we have many like that, and usually we refer them either to Butabika Hospital. So making such referrals is also part of what we are supposed to do. Okay. And we are also supposed to develop and acquire technology, because this whole industry of pornography thrives on technology mostly. Yeah. Most of the pornography is online. Especially in this era now. Yes.
When internet is everywhere.
Yes. And phones have come. Yes. Even we are talking about Uganda. Some places hadn't had pornographic proliferation because the internet was not going there. But now in the village, even people have phones.
Smartphones.
They say touch. I have touch.
Yes, I have touch screen.
And when they have touch screen, they are as well as in the USA. Because what the person in the USA can access, they can also access through Google, through YouTube and all these channels. And
social media also is another.
Yeah. One of the other things that we are supposed to do is promote educational materials in schools. Okay, of course, starting with our center here, which makes educational materials. And then that go to schools, we are supposed to infuse good messages against pornography to children. Then also collaborate internationally with other people who are doing similar work. So that's part of what we do.
Okay. Wow, it is a tremendous job you're doing. But pornography is really a very big vice that is eating up the generation, the young generation. Yeah. Then why do you think, or why do you people come in to legislate pornography?
Yeah, that's a question that we've got since our inception, that people are asking us, but if people are mature and they can decide on their own, why do you legislate what
it's people... their own phones, they buy their own data.
Yes, so how do you come in?
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, that some people approached parliamentarians and said our country is going down the drain, please help us, our children are getting addicted, we are having all these problems. So first of all, the most searched word on Google, if you check, is sex. The most searched word on Google is sex. So constantly people are...
Irrespective of the context in which you searched for it.
Well, the smaller context would be if you're looking... If I say sex, definitely I'm not saying... I'm not searching for sexual immorality. I have not added the word immorality.
You might be searching for the gender bit of it.
Well, the gender bit does not... They don't say... You don't just say sex and that comes up. You have to add another search word. So I'm talking about top of mind search word is sex. And 80% of... We've done a survey around universities in Uganda. There are about 40-something universities in Uganda. Yeah. And we've done a survey and 80% of girls, especially because we were doing the study with girls, told us that they have had sex on webcams, with pictures taken. Most of them, actually, even after that, come to us crying. Someone has my nudes and they want to expose me. Parents come to us and say, someone has my daughter's nudes and they want to expose our family. You know, such things. Yeah. So now that becomes a public... It becomes for public consumption because it is disturbing the peace of many people, more than one person.
And I think some have even been released. When maybe people break up, they release whatever they release, and social media will push it wherever. That
has happened so much. And we have these bloggers.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to arrest some of them, like Ashbag Kato. We arrested him twice, I think, because for him, he was doing that, just helping people to put out people's nudes and, revenge porn, because that's what we call it now, revenge pornography. Someone breaks up with someone, or... Because we used to get all these questions. If I'm in the privacy of my home and I'm with my wife or with my husband or with my girlfriend and we want to take these pictures, why do you prohibit them? We said, no, we don't prohibit those, by the way. It is when it gets into public arena that we have now to look for the source of production, who created them first, and then the source of distribution, who distributed them, because the penalties are different, because now the law will pick that up.
Is it so easy for you to trace who distributed?
Yes, we can. We have memorandum of understanding with Uganda Communications Commission.
Okay.
So those have been very helpful in helping us with the sources of creation and distribution.
Well, Doctor, let's go shortly for a commercial break, and then when we come back, we are going to, of course, look at what happens when someone is exposed to pornography. We are coming back shortly.
As you think about the Lord just taking over your case and you are no longer in the midst of it, and he says, fear not.
Demons from the mountains, scream and leave.
In the name of
Demons
the Lord.
from the graves, scream and leave in the name of Jesus.
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Health Port, brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health. Basically looking at maternal health and early childhood development. Now, our topic today is the effects of exposing young children to adult content, basically pornography. That is why Dr. Annette is here with us. And, Doctor, you had given us a lot of information about what you do and how you basically do it. But we have a very big problem, especially in a time where parents leave their phones with the children to study, with them. Schools send work, and then a parent gives the child a phone. They don't know what the child watches after getting this work and all that. Yet, even in those phones, there is a lot of pornography. What could be that? What happens when this child is exposed to such material?
Yeah, many studies have been done on children and exposure to such things. We got a complaint by some human rights activists at one time saying, why are you legislating against pornography? Other countries don't do it. But when we checked, when we did research, we found that many countries actually legislate against pornography, including America, but they legislate against child pornography. Now, what is coming as content of pornography to Uganda does not discriminate that it will go to adults only. It has devastating effects on adults,
and I
but
think
on children.
The other issue, there is right, 18 plus. And because the children are so curious, they want to really see what is this 18 plus that they are stopping us from watching who are not 18.
Yes. Now, so many studies have been done on childhood development and, how a baby develops even from your stomach to breastfeeding, how the child develops. If you have any disagreement in the home, for example, psychologically they will affect that child.
Yes.
If you have good life, the child would grow up happy. That is what it is psychologically. But now, we have had so many children being exposed to pornography from an early age, as early as even 4 years, 5 years. And who exposes them? The adults. Some adults who want to take advantage of such children also first show them pornography because they know that will stimulate their minds, and then they will do with them whatever they want to do with them. And others accidentally find them in the phones, as you have said. Most parents, both mother and father, always have pornography in their phones. And because they are loving parents, they arrive home, their phones are lying there. The children know these passwords, by the way. They know how to do the patterns and get into your phone.
In this guise of playing games, they also look for some other information.
Yes, and when the children are exposed, first of all, they grow with it. So first of all, it shocks them. They wonder what that is happening. Then secondly, they become more curious. Then eventually, they become addicted. You find an 8-year-old, because we've gone around primary schools and found people who have been addicted, children, and then we ask them, who exposed you first? My grandfather, my uncle who was living with us, our house help. All the people around the family, my brother. You've seen incidents of even parents who have ended up, sleeping with, like a woman sleeps with their 16-year-old, a minor, because they've, first of all, exposed themselves to pornography, lose every sense, and then, end up in such a vice which will live with them forever. So, the exposure, so this is how it happens. The first exposure is usually incidental or accidental. The people who go to internet cafes or who have internet in their homes, you click something and something pops up. You become curious. You start watching. Then you know that it's not something you can watch while people are looking. So you hide it. So once you start hiding it, you want for an opportunity where people are not looking at you, you go again and check. That has started to become an addiction. Some people at that stage become
is that a natural
disgusted.
instinct that this child will automatically know that, no, I shouldn't watch this when mommy is seeing me, so they have to hide?
Pornography, like sex, is a natural instinct. Pornography, because it shows you sex, so it's a natural instinct that someone will look at something and it will be embarrassing at that point. Some people abandon at that point and become disgusted. But those who follow up and keep now hiding it, those ones are prone to addiction. Okay. And once addiction happens, someone can watch something and over a month it becomes like an everyday thing.
Meaning there is no specific age of addiction, any age is prone to addiction.
Is prone to addiction. So an 8-year-old can be hiding things from you. I know many children who got their fathers buying red paper, and then they would get out the hyena bit and they go and read it in their room. So they, Daddy, today did you bring newspapers? They won't say, did you bring the red paper? Daddy, today the newspapers.
Days back when we were still in school, students used to even hang it around their boxes so that when they open it is what they read and then close.
Yes, that was already addiction. And in many girls' schools, when we traced back, we had all these novels, which is now classified as soft pornography, that would take, girls to fantasy land, like Mills and Boone, Jackie Collins, all those books that we read. They are still on the shelves of secondary schools. They don't know what addiction to pornography they do to that, to the students. And you see that the danger is not to read that. The danger is that the book you read yesterday, today will not satisfy your mind. So it escalates to the point that now you want something harder and rougher, and that escalation is part of the addiction. Addiction, then you escalate to that level where you want something more. And when you want something more, you reach a point where you are desensitized. Even when it's playing now and people are there, you don't feel ashamed anymore. The shame has gone away. And after desensitization, you find that now someone starts acting out. You're like, what's wrong with Uncle so and so? He grabs people, he gropes people by
I think,
groping,
Doctor, that now takes us to the effects of early exposure to pornography. So someone has reached that now very critical level of addiction. What are the possible effects, not even possible, dangerous effects of that?
Okay, so I already had started on them. You get defilement.
Yeah. Defilement,
Rape. People start raping. Bestiality, where people now, because in the pornography, when someone is watching now human beings, man and woman, it becomes boring. They start watching man and animal. They start watching man and robot or woman and robot. They start watching, because we are saying it escalates. You've started from this level. You are now bored with this. It's mundane and everyday life. You want something worse, more kinky, more rough, until everything is stored in your brain meanwhile.
So for us here, we see people do that and we think that it's evil, an influence of evil spirits, not knowing the background of this.
Now, you have brought in another perspective of evil spirits. That's one way. When you watch pornography, that's one way of opening for evil spirits, indeed, to come into your life. Then start acting.
In other words, you opened up for the evil spirits to enter you.
Yeah, through pornography, of course. And once that happens, whatever you want to call it, someone acts out, rapes, defiles such person. If they are already married, by the way, some people get addicted even when they are married. And I was asking some couples, and they say, we started it because we wanted to enhance our sexual life. We wanted to have a good time. Then at least did I know my husband was going behind my back and watching worse things until he said he was bored of me, that I was not doing what the actors in the pornographic movies were doing. And so that breaks up a marriage. You started wanting to enhance it, but now you have broken up the marriage. So that's one of the devastating effects. Actually, many marriages have broken. The man says, okay, I'll stay there and I will masturbate because I have pictures to masturbate to. The woman is boring. She doesn't want me to beat her because I saw in the pornographic movie they were beating the woman.
Isn't this masturbation effect also common among children who are earlier exposed?
Yes, because of course the children have no other source of getting sex. Once the mind is stimulated, and teenagers are ripe for creativity, for all sorts of things in their mind. So when you add pornography, you have just taken away that and given them something to obsess about. So they will not concentrate in class. They will fail. Most of the people who start with pornography fail. They are thinking of masturbation. A student was telling us how they would be waiting for a break to run to the toilets where they've drawn women pictures and all that to masturbate. Or they say, 30 minutes left, you're in an exam. Other people are seeing how to conclude their sentences. For
Your
you,
mind
you want,
is already blown
your mind
off.
is saying run and masturbate in the toilet. By the time you come back, you will not score the same as the child who has
Your concentration is divided.
Is divided. So that has led to children, a child who was performing very well. In fact, one of the indicators that parents should look out for is a child who was performing well suddenly becomes withdrawn, so much into their room, closed. When you come in, they look startled because they were doing something that they think they shouldn't be doing. The guilt, the shame, the depression. A child who was very outgoing now becomes shy and withdrawn and angry because they know that what they're doing is wrong. I've talked about increase against violence against women and children. People rape even people they meet on the way because from Chibanda, we've been watching a blue movie. You're now high and anybody you meet you might just grab because that's what was happening in the movies anyway. And people forget that this is an illusion, that people are acting. Because when people are acting, they say put a leg here, put this here. So you see it and you believe every woman should behave like...
There's someone behind the camera who directs this whole thing.
Yes, and then they believe that their spouses should behave the same way. So their ideas about sex are wrongly shaped, and so the attitude changes, and then devastating effects of family breakdown. Yeah.
Oh. Doctor, this is so alarming and it is so dangerous. Now I see why the committee really has a lot of work to do, especially to curb it. And as we conclude, what is your last message? One, to the parents, and then two, to the early addicts that are out there watching us, because this is Family TV. We want to enrich people's lives, and in enriching lives, this is a very important message. Sometimes parents ignore it. They ignore, my child can't do that, but then they don't know that they do these things behind their backs. What is your message?
Message is, pornography is very alluring at the beginning for many people. They look at it, they are like, wow, what's that? I remember someone told me a story that, they saw it, they shook because they wanted to see some more. But it's like a snake that draws you in with its colors and then engulfs you and then swallows you. That is how pornography is. So parents have to look out for that, because if you think that it's no big deal, the effects will come and you will see your child and you'll see a strange child. Because exposure to pornography harms children and the youth, but most especially children. When the child has had pornographic exposure, that child can never be the same again. So if a parent notices, or any caregiver in boarding schools, because now it's in boarding schools, it's in homes, it's in the community. If a child has had exposure, encourage the children to speak out. What did you do today? Please keep your children very close, because even someone who hates you can go and take your child quietly and expose them to harm you, to harm the child forever. So we need to help the young people to critically analyze the effects of pornography. I think that in debates in school, this topic should be introduced, because some children know more than others.
As a way of creating awareness?
As a way of creating awareness and not praising it. This topic, sex education and pornography, education against pornography, can go either way. You can expose those who have not been exposed, but you can also save those who
have already been exposed.
Those who have already been exposed, how do you save them? Encourage them to speak out. When you go to schools, we give them places where they can draw or write, and write anything about pornography that you know. Usually that's a beginning point, and they open up. I have so much written from different schools, from girls' schools, from boys' schools. None of them is safe. And these are schools around us. None of them is safe from pornography.
Where our children are.
Yes, and parents, there are some parents who believe that you don't restrict anything. TV, children can sit on telenovelas the whole night and watch. There is a reason why we say by 8 o'clock, let the children just watch news, and after that, let them go and play in their room until they sleep. But for you to even take a TV to their own room and you don't know what they are watching there, you are harming those children forever, because the curiosity gets the better of them and they have heard things from school. They will want to act out. And feel free to speak about these things. When you speak about pornography, children will tell you a lot. I mean, I cannot tell you my own child how much they've told me, because I always engage them about it and they give me their perspective from school. Yes.
Doctor, in a minute, what have you as a committee done to help the parents on the spread of pornography and maybe creating awareness of the dangerous effects of pornography?
Yeah, what we have done, we have really engaged most people that we think are stakeholders in this. So who are the stakeholders? We've engaged parents in different places, in churches, mosques, and all those places. We've engaged the children from schools. We've gone to different schools at all levels. But someone gets addicted from primary school and reaches university still addicted. I mean, like nobody has ever noticed. We have found that very devastating, especially because that person gets out but can never be the same. So we have tried to reach people in places they gather. We have engaged police at all levels. Police, now I know that they are spreading our gospel wherever they go, because they were the first people to tell us, don't rush with the arrests, let's first educate the people. So we know that police is working with us really in that field of educating the people. We've engaged different stakeholders in this matter, and we are still engaging more.
And we pray that you really achieve the objectives, because I believe the objectives are a big help to our country. Well, thank you so much. And I think, Doctor, it's also important. You talked about people who have been rehabilitated and then they are now survivors. I think it is important that you get us at least one person who can come here and share their experiences. I believe it would be of importance to our viewers there, so that they can now see this practically, not in theory.
Yes, I definitely will get you someone who can come to your studio and talk about their experience, because we believe we are building Uganda, and the future is on these children, and we must save a certain section who will be leaders of their own peers.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
We are delighted. Thank you so much. And like Dr. Annette has said, she's going to get us one person who will come here and share their experiences. And I think parents, now you will know that any age is prone to this. But what is important are the effects. The effects can ruin this child's life and the child's future, like Dr. has said. However, thank you so much for watching today's show. This is Family TV Health Port, brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health, together with Family TV. Erin Austin Mukalazi is my name, and our guest today was Dr. Annette Kezaabu, the chairperson of the Pornography Control Committee in the Office of the President. And I've worked with Jonah Jao, the producer, Tony Santo on social media, and Bantam in transmission. And then Brenda Tijakira, the associate producer. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend and good night.